You need to stop selling to people. Let me explain why. Now, you might be thinking, hang on a second, Jason. Listen, we're in business. We need to sell. We've been told to sell to people. If you don't sell to people, how are you going to make money? I get that. Hear me out. The way that you're selling right now is actually costing you sales. Your scripts are killing conversations. The way you're approaching people is actually killing the sale. And the way that you are being told to say certain things is actually making people run a freaking mile. Now, in this video, I want to share with you why my anti-sales method is what's helped me close over 22 million in deals, and my clients have gone on to generate over 200 million using the exact same principles. Look, as a former psychiatric nurse turned entrepreneur, I'm telling you now, I've taken what I used to do on the wards into sales, because in the end of the day, it's not about selling to people. It's about helping them to buy. There's a big, big difference. So let's get stuck into it. Now, why should you focus on not selling? Because let's be perfectly blunt and honest. Does anyone like being sold to? Do you? I don't know about you, but I'm guessing you don't, because I don't. I don't like being pressured. I don't like being pushed. I don't like being told, you need my product. No, no, no. I especially don't like it when I say to someone, for example, I need to go and have a think about this. And they go, well, what do you need to think about? Like, come on, really? Do you like that? So why are you doing it? Why are you listening to these Muppets out there telling you to do it too? You've got to stop that nonsense. And what you've got to get better at is not knowing what to say, but knowing how to think. There's a big difference, because let's look at traditional sales. Most people will sell to people either using a script or using some kind of methodology that they've been shown to use. Well, the truth of the matter is this: how on earth can you treat a prospect's problem as an individualized problem if you are running a freaking script? Think about it. Because everybody's different. Every situation is different. So why are you using scripts? Now, not only are you disconnected from them and not really making it a personal experience for them, what you're also doing is missing out on vital buying cues that the prospect is giving you. Now, remember, over 80% of communication is nonverbal. And you're missing out on it because you're reading a freaking script. So what do I do instead? I help people with what I call the anti-sales approach. And I love it, because at the end of the day, most people don't like being sold to. And the majority of entrepreneurial people or business owners don't actually like selling. Now, unless you're a hardcore sales rep who absolutely loves selling, ringing that freaking bell on the sales floor, smashing it out the park, shooting the freaking money gun all over the place or whatever, unless you're one of those people, which is not a lot of people, by the way, most people don't enjoy selling. So think about the logic in this. You don't enjoy selling. The prospect doesn't like being sold to, but you've got a business to run and you've got clients to service. So how are you going to possibly get clients if you don't like selling and the prospect doesn't like being sold to? Do you see why most people fall down? So here's what you need to do instead. Get better at not selling to people and get better at learning how to think instead. Let me give you an example. Think about it like this. If someone jumps onto a sales call with you, someone books into your diary and jumps onto a sales call with you, why would they do that? Just stop for a second and think. Why would somebody book a call with you? Think about it. Because they were bored? No, they have a problem. So think about it like this. If someone came to you with a problem, what would you ask them at the start of the conversation? Well, logic tells you would ask them, what's brought you here? What's the challenge you're going through? Once they tell you, you would say something like, well, tell me more. How else is that impacting you? All you're doing here is using your brain to think about the logical steps of a conversation rather than following a script. And when you start to do this, when you learn how to think better, which, by the way, you already know how to do, you've just kind of lost it a little bit because you're relying on freaking scripts all the time. When you learn how to think better, what starts to happen is you start to connect more with the prospect. You start to actually sell without selling. When you start to actually be concerned about them, when you lean back rather than chasing this person, they start to see that, one, yes, you care, but two, They start closing themselves. Because think about it like this. The prospect knows they need help. They know they have a problem. They also know when they're telling you some BS story about why they can't get to where they want to be. And the thing is, the more you confront people over things that they already know, the more likely they are to run a mile, because no one likes being told that they're wrong. So what do you do instead? You help them tell themselves they're wrong. And let me explain why that works. Because you, yes, you watching this right now, you don't like being told what to do you? You don't like rules. You don't like people telling you you can't. You don't like people questioning you. So what makes you think your prospect likes it? Because no one likes being told what to do. This is why we don't tell people to buy our stuff. We help them to buy instead. We let them take ownership of the buying decision. So when you can let someone take ownership of their own flaws, take ownership of their own BS, take ownership of their own crap that's keeping them stuck, then they will also lean into taking ownership of doing something different, i.e. buying your product or your service. And that doesn't happen in a script, my friend. It doesn't happen in selling. It happens when you don't sell and you genuinely ask questions out of interest as to where they are right now, why are they stuck, what's kept them there, what have they tried already, what's an ideal scenario for them. Then you start digging into the diagnosis of the situation and how you think they could do something better. Get them to ask them as well, hey, tell me in your own words, how can you see this helping you? When you start thinking logically through a conversation rather than knowing what to say, suddenly what happens is you end up not needing scripts. You're much calmer, you're much more relaxed. Selling doesn't feel like selling anymore, and you close more deals. Because let's be perfectly honest, if you don't like selling, and the prospect don't like being sold to, but you need their money, and they need your product or service, then unless something changes, unless you do something different, then what's actually going to happen? Not much, other than you're going to get frustrated talking to lots of people who don't buy. They're going to get frustrated by not having the solution to their problem. And nobody wins. So it doesn't make any sense. So why am I telling you this, my friends? I'm telling you right now to stop being that person. Stop being that person who's trying too hard. Become the anti-sales person. I am the anti-sales mentor. I love selling, but I'm anti-selling because I don't really sell. I help people to buy. There's a massive, massive difference. So if you can join the anti-sales movement, not only do you fall in love with what you're doing again, you start to genuinely go back to the core as to why you got into business in the first place, which is to solve problems for people and get paid for it. You're not doing it for free. But look, many of you watching this, especially people who follow me, they want to have more impact. They want to help more people. They want to serve. But you should also get paid for that. And if you want to get better at serving and helping other people, then stop selling. Help people to buy. Let them see they've got a problem. Let them close themselves so you can get on with the work. Because that's what you really want to do, right? You just want to service your clients. You don't want to keep worrying about having to close them or use the next freaking objection handling technique or whatever. You've got to stop all of that stuff. So stop being a salesperson. Start being someone who helps. Because if you really, really want to learn how to sell without being like a salesperson, then you've got to follow what I'm telling you right now. Stop using scripts. Stop trying to push people too hard. Stop trying to back them into a corner and make them feel like they need your stuff. All that's going to do, my friends, is create a lot of resistance. And even if someone buys from you after doing all of that, they will experience what's called buyer's remorse when they return to baseline. Once they're out of that sales situation, they'll start to reflect on it and go, actually, you know what? I didn't like how I was sold to. I felt a bit pressured. I didn't like that. Next thing you know, they're asking for a refund or they're doing a chargeback on their credit card. What's the point? Makes no sense. And I see salespeople all across the world, especially sales reps, do this all the time just to try and get their commission check. And what they don't realize is later on, that money's going to get clawed back because the client's going to ask for a refund. The person you're selling for is not going to be very, very happy. They're going to take it out of your next commission check. It doesn't win. Nobody wins in that situation. So stop being a salesperson. Join the anti-sales movement and start learning how to think rather than knowing what to say. Now, look, if this was valuable to you in any way or form, do me a favor. Make sure you leave me a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. If you want some help with this, if we'd like some free resources to help you learn how to sell without selling, then comment sales down below and I'll send you some free resources. And if you really, really, really want to help me, do me a favor. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and at least share this episode with someone in sales, whether it's a colleague of yours, a business partner of yours, someone that you care about. Share an episode so that they can learn about the anti-sales movement as well. Because at the end of the day, let's be honest, it's much nicer, isn't it, to not have to sell? Think about it, right? Anyway, until next time, I wish you all the wealth, health, success, and happiness that you truly deserve, and I'll see you on the next video.